of the return program coming to you from A9 TV, beautiful city, Istanbul. Today we guest friend Oktar.
Distinguished guest today is Salahuddin Armstrong. He's a scholar, speaker, and ambassador, and he's participating in a program from London. He embraced Islam in the year 2000. He is the co-director of the association, the director of the Khilafa Online. He has worked with Wolverhampton in the Regeneration Network, and he is also the founder of the Wolverhampton Sufi Association. Brother Paul Salahuddin Armstrong, welcome to the program. It's a pleasure.
Pleasure to be here.
First question, and dear Paul, how first learned how you to become a Muslim?
It's one question. A story by on this, because it was quite a journey. Basically, I'm not really looking for Islam as such at first, because I didn't know what it was. What was often presented to me as if it was Islam, it is basically today, because my research, but understood to be Islam in this country, sadly, is put forward by people who are either, on the one hand, quite narrow-minded, or on the other hand, very liberal, and often too. It's like an Islam on the Islam that was based upon the long 1,000 years of scholarship. When I discovered Islam, wow, how come nobody told me about this before? So this is a spiritually tradition, but I don't really understand Islam.
Yes, we see you as a bright, open-minded, smart Muslim, and we think that this is very important for being a teacher of Islam, to represent Islam. Understand that and true. Can you give some advice to people who are Muslims all their lives and new Muslims, inshallah?
Quran, not reading the Quran for a start. If language, read which you can understand. Make sure it's a good one and not one that is of particular cultures, And if you compare a few, I mean, this is initially because I wasn't sure which one was a good one, and by doing obviously it translated, took something, and I was of the real message of the Quran, and something completely different, and they had one in particular I can think of. So that is a very good point. Is the Holy Book of Islam? This seems all of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's like, understand, get to grips with the Quran.
Definitely.
A lot of people also try to understand the Quran particular lens. They've taught by perhaps a teacher or something. It's dangerous as well, because if you try to understand the Quran from a lens, which is a man-made lens that belongs to a particular cultural heritage, then the is that she really grasps the message of the Holy Quran, Islam. So we really plan on the supplementary materials until we really see with what the message of the Quran is. And then when we got to grips runs through the Quran, then we kind of little specialities and develop in these areas.
Definitely agree with Allah is Allah's word. So, really, the time Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was, of course, Quran sufficient, and there is compassion, mercy, love, justice, real freedom of thought and worship in the Quran, according to the Quran, inshallah.
Absolutely.
Being the director, founder, and director of various Islamic organizations in the United States, what can you tell us about present and future of Islam in the kingdom and
present and future of Islam? The present of Muslims or the present and future of Islam? Is they're kind of because it's, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always protect you. And as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises in His Holy Quran, that He will always to, and if other people, they're Muslim, not really, doing, then I'm going to Islam. Inspire other people to take on these roles. So Islam will have a great future because Allah will defend. As for Muslims themselves, I mean, sects and denominations and different groups in this country from all different backgrounds, due to the obviously that have set deliberately missionary work. So what we're trying to do and what we're working in association is actually bring people together on one platform.
Yes.
Based upon all good Muslims would agree upon, like human rights, freedom of faith, being able to respect everyone in our human family, and this we keep drawing back to the concept of human family. In the Quran, Allah calls every nas people human beings before they embrace any particular religious background or before their nationality, which again God says in the Quran that nations may come to know that we should at all. And no. We're supposed to know one another. We're supposed to work together for the common good. This is the message that runs constantly through the Holy Quran. So this is what our focus is, trying to get people to, build bridges, knock down the walls they built in their minds. And that is actually, and within the Muslim community, in the wider community. And this is also about young people. Like I was saying, young people that think, I don't really Islam. Different forms. It's like hundreds of years late. And Islam itself is divine wisdom, which can be any situation, any time in history. So and we have to realize this. Otherwise, it would have no value. And clearly, it does have value because people keep coming back to Islam, and every year they're growing more and more embracing Islam, in spite of publicity, in spite of Muslims have been, in spite of the fact that a small group of people who Muslims have done terrible human family and against upon Allah. People are still coming into Islam, and the beauty, the inspiration, the great inspiration that Islam gives. This will continue to grow, but we have to try and bring people together on a platform, and one based upon education, which is based on one is based on compassion for each and every one of us. Most important, respect. A derby is central. That the Prophet ﷺ himself, he had respect for all people. He didn't do this to people that were following him, and it's very, very important that we to having good adab for each.
I mean, and as we know in the Quran, the Christians and the Jews, the Muslims, we can socialize with them, and Allah says, only argue with them only in this way. I see. There is no enmity, even the unbelievers, Muslims, because Allah says, if the idolater bring fact, Muslims do that in cases they also have their own lives. We saw this example, very good examples from the time of our Prophet. Everybody was under protection of Muslims. Peace, of course. Islam is a itself, inshallah. And Mr. Adnan ideas, something that you said, the unity, inshallah, because Allah says, as you hold fast, hold, of course, not separate, Allah says. And because separation, see all these conflicts in Syria, in Egypt, in many other countries, and Muslims get oppressed, and they're everywhere because of the separation and enmity and hatred between them, among the Muslims actually. But this is against the Quran, of course. So my next question is, Islamic organizations for many years consider as in high Muslims. Would you more about this, inshallah?
This is vital. I mean, look today, people talk about jihad and struggle. And if we were to talk about some real jihad, it was against ignorance. Yeah, this is the thing that the Prophet Muhammad struggled against his entire life. He struggled against ignorance. You know, he wanted people to be educated. He wanted them to, achieve, do the best which they can. The only way that is if they're educated.
MashaAllah.
And Islam. I mean, how can we have Islam if people are not educated? I mean, the very concept in the Quran of having a book that is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a book which you have to read. Indeed, the first revelation that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was Iqra. So it's like we have to read, we have to learn, we have to study. And this is definitely...
I mean, he uses the pen name Harun. More than 300 books, websites free of charge, so everybody can read it. Like 1,000. His books are related to 75 languages. All are available. So we also give conferences in U.S., Europe, Far East, Indonesia, Malaysia, Australia, everywhere, inshallah. More than 50 conferences on behalf of for education. And you're definitely right. Jihad means struggle. Is intellectual, inshallah.
Inshallah.
MashaAllah.
Yes, and Paul, the last question is, could you please tell us your life before after it? And one more question, and do you believe true Islam can be the solution to the many social ills we see not only in the United Kingdom but in Europe as well?
Well, I mean, before Islam, I was going through a period of spiritual, wandering. I was looking, and even though I was actually initially avoiding Islam, I discovered what the true Islam was. That understood correctly, Islam provides a very important framework and very important advice and guidance for us to be able to live a peaceful and a wonderful world that will be of true benefit to our human family.
MashaAllah.
And I'm into the beautiful conversation, and it's we can see the your sincerity and nur of Allah. And again, unity generates. So inshallah, people coming together very, very of Bediüzzaman Said Nursi, as an Islamic scholar. He said, one separately makes 1 plus individually 1 4. One together 1,111. So Muslims coming together, inshallah, and this will be very important. And we see you here in Istanbul together, because we have to spread this Islam, this humanity.
Inshallah. Paul, thank you for joining us. So, end of our show today. You As Oktar said, as soon as we see you in our live show, inshallah, on behalf of here in Istanbul, I say, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalam.
Salam,
pleasure.
Assalamu alaikum. Brother Paul, that was very, very
MashaAllah,
your
MashaAllah.
ideas exactly
Wonderful.
from Quran, mashallah. We share the
MashaAllah.
same ideas. Together, bring in these real Islam, inshallah. And we
İnşallah.
will, inshallah. As the mashallah.
MashaAllah.
Mashallah. Selamun alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum assalam.